Hello and welcome back to the Geordie Pig Investor channel. We have actually got another portfolio update video on my Trading 212 portfolio. I have recently crossed another huge milestone in my personal journey, which is returning over £2,000 within my portfolio. As you can see, it has actually climbed right the way up to £2,200 just in the last few hours as the US market has opened up, which is over a 7.6% return in my current portfolio, which I am really happy to see, as I am focused on my dividends. I am a dividend focused investor, so to have gains within the portfolio solidifies the fact that the positions that I'm purchasing into, my evaluations of them are at a good price, and for the majority of my stocks they have been seeing an increase over the last few months ever since I started investing, and we are reaping the rewards with now over a £2,000 return in the portfolio. As you can see, I have invested over £29,000 now, and the overall portfolio value is at £31,370, which again is just such a nice amount to see. I only just recently crossed the £30,000 mark last week, and we're already up close to £31,500. So to be able to see this is really, really motivating, and just makes me want to continue investing into my portfolio and really mainly investing into my future. So if I show you over the last week, we can see I crossed that £30,000 mark. Actually, if I show you over the last month, we can see when it first was hit was around about the 11th of November. And over the last week, we can see how much it has progressed since then. Obviously, I've added some more capital into the portfolio as well, as I like to do on a weekly basis. You can see it has crossed that £2,000 mark a couple of times, and then it dipped back down. And this is the first time where it's crossed it and actually crossed it and is up towards that £2,200 return mark. Yes, it may dip below that £2,000 mark again, but I know over the long term, I'm investing in good, consistent stocks that I believe are going to continue rising in price over the long term. And I'm going to reap the rewards not only through their capital gains, but also through the very nice dividend payments I'll receive and the dividend growth, which obviously with me being only 23 years old is the main part of my portfolio. So if I actually take you through the portfolio, I'm going to show you my transaction history in here to be totally transparent in my stocks ISA, which I'm always transparent across all of my accounts. If I go into the history here, we can see all of my transactions within the All tab here, and if I click on orders, we can actually see how much money I have made within the portfolio, and that is £185. If I click across to dividends, we can see I've received over £480 in dividend payments. And if I go on to transactions, I have actually deposited over £29,192, and somehow I withdrew £90. I think this was right at the start of the portfolio when I opened it up last year, and it was actually when I was a little bit confused between my ISA account and my general investing account, and I didn't understand that once you put money into an ISA account, if you withdraw that money, you actually lose it for the rest of that year because you only have a £20,000 allowance. Last year, I didn't actually hit the £20,000 limit because I only started investing in August last year, so that only gave me September, October, November, December, January, February, March, and then the first half of April to get into my portfolio, so that was only 7.5 months, whereas this time round for this year, obviously I'm going to be investing for the full year, and my goal is to invest that full £20,000. So far, we have invested £12,100 in this portfolio, and we've also invested around about £800 in my other portfolio on Invest Engine. So that leaves me around £7,100 remaining. So around about 6,500 of that will go into this portfolio, hopefully by the end of the year, and the rest in my Invest Engine portfolio, which I do invest £100 every single month into. And if you haven't checked that out already, please do so on my channel. So yeah, you can see all of my transaction history in here. We can see the interest I've earned is around £60 within this portfolio. So overall, if we include my dividends and my realized gains on top of the £2,200 that I've already got as unrealized gains in my portfolio, I'm actually close to £3,000 up within the portfolio, which is a really nice figure to be hit. It's actually close to a 10% return as well. If I take you through the actual portfolio itself, if we have a look at the ETF and Chill Pie, these are my main ETFs within the portfolio. I currently have 4 positions in here. One of them being the FTSE All World, which I am actually not investing into anymore, hence why it is now a 1% allocation. So that is just going to be a stagnant position that will hopefully increase over time as that does trend upwards over time. But after researching a little bit further, I slightly prefer the stocks within the FTSE Developed World Fund. So that is where I am now investing my money on a weekly basis. Alongside the Vanguard S&P 500 fund, I also invest into that fund on a weekly basis as well. And then I opened a position up in JP Morgan Global Growth and Income because this also shows some really nice returns with a slightly higher dividend yield on this position, and the dividend yield for me is one of the biggest drivers in my portfolio, as when I see my predicted annual dividend income going up on a weekly basis, it really keeps me motivated and wants me to continue investing in the portfolio. If my portfolio wasn't progressing very fast and I didn't see those dividends increasing quite a lot each month, then I don't think I'd be as motivated, and I'd actually be investing less capital into my portfolio. So for me, mentally, to be investing into some stocks and also ETFs that have a slightly higher dividend yield, this is going to keep my motivation high, and over the long term is going to mean I actually want to invest more money in the portfolio, which in theory should mean that I can get to my goal quicker. Alongside these ETFs, we have my UK Growth Dividend Stock Pie. This is the only one in the red right now. It's only slightly in the red now. It has recovered quite a bit over the last couple of days, but we can see I've got some real hard hitters in here that are down quite a bit. Safe Store Holdings, which really took a dip over the last month, now being down 13%, and 15% in the last 3 months. That has been a position that was always in the green when I first had it, so now it is down that amount. It's definitely one I'll be looking to add back into, as I believe it is at a very good price right now. We can also see I have GSK down 15% and Diageo down 13% alongside BP. So these are some of the biggest losers in my current portfolio. I'm actually still very bullish across all of this portfolio and believe that these positions that are currently in the red will recover over time. So be it in the next 1, 3, 5 or 10 years, I'm in no hurry to sell any of these stocks, as I am as a long-term investor. So there's absolutely no rush to sell these stocks. I'll still be reaping the rewards with the dividends that they come in, and also the dividend growth that these stocks have will be increasing those dividend payments year to year. So I'm very happy to just continue holding these and see how they do over the next few years, as I have done my research into every single one of these companies, and I am happy with the prices that I am purchasing in at. Alongside this, we have my US Growth Dividend Focus Pie, and this one has 2 European stocks, being ASML and also Louis Vuitton, and Louis Vuitton being the only loser in this portfolio. I'm again very bullish on this long term. I think that price right now is still very undervalued. I'm continuing to add to this stock if it is under that €600 mark. So next week I will be adding a little bit more into that position as long as it stays below there, and the rest of my stocks in here have performed very, very well, as you can see, all into the green. I recently added a position into Nike. As we can see, that is now recovered up and is just slightly in the green. That had been in the red the last few days, so I continue to add to that. So it's nice to see that one finally back into the green, and another stock that I am bullish on over the long term. To be honest, I'm bullish on all of my stocks long term, and if I wasn't, then I wouldn't be invested in them. If any of their thesis changed, if I wasn't very happy with any earnings reports coming out and it was continually happening quarter after quarter, then I would sell out of my positions and I wouldn't have that stock. Burberry's a good example of a stock that I did have in the portfolio, that after it decided to get rid of its dividend and the stock price was coming down and I didn't really like the earnings reports coming out from it, I did decide to sell out of that for a loss, and I reinvest that capital into different companies. So there is some times where that does have to happen, and unfortunately we can't pick out winners every single time, but as long as the majority of the time you're picking out very good, safe, long-term stocks with good thesis, then I believe you will make money over the long term, make those capital gains within the portfolio, and also reap the rewards with the dividend payments. So this is my current portfolio. That's the breakdown of all my 3 different pies within here. We can see, like I say, I'm over that £2,200 now return mark. Hopefully it continues to stay around this mark and it increases even more so into the final month of the year. We'll have to see how it performs over the last month, and I want to continue adding to my portfolio right the way through into the end of 2024. Let me know how your portfolio is doing in the comment section down below. Have you got any of the same stocks that I do in my portfolio? Let me know in that comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. This is the Geordie Pig Investor, over and out.